The question is, in meditation, when you are watching the object or anything that comes into order, or your action like making cakes or handling cakes, so what? Or by observing, yes, especially in a retreat, because this is a full-time retreat and full-time meditation, you need to have full-time mindfulness. The moment you wake up until you fall asleep at night. When you are, of course, fall asleep, cannot be mindful. But during the daytime, it should be mindfully noted or mindfully aware of any object that comes into contact with one. Then only the insight can develop. For example, it is given in commentaries, like before electricity days, when someone needs fire, one has to rub the two hard things like wood or anything. When rubbing enough, only then the heat arises and the fire can be ignited. So you need constant, persistent rubbing of the two objects to get fire. So also meditation or mindfulness should be constant so that it can accumulate or it can develop the insight. Like a person striving for fire, if you do one or two rubbing, then stop. Then another one or two rubbing, stop. So it can produce no heat and you can get no fire. So the mindfulness noting should be constant and persistent. If no more question, let me elaborate some points in today's Dhamma talk. I hope you all understand about this talk. Here, if you can notice it, Buddha said, for seeing, he said, Date, Data Mabdam Bhavai-sati, and seeing just be seen. And Sudi Sutta Madam Bhavai-sati, and hearing just be hearing. So we must, when we see something, we must know as seen, so that the object stay as just a visual object or the object that we see. So also when we hear some song, note as hearing, so that it stays as a song. And next three senses, smelling, tasting, and touching. And Buddha, these three collectively see as Muti, Muta, Madam Bhavai-sati. Paliwa Muti, Muta, Madam Bhavai-sati means those sense objects that come into contact with the sense basis. And these three collectively mentioned under one heading, Muti, Muta, Madam Bhavai-sati. And that is very interesting to note. For seeing and hearing, he used one each. Speech and seeing be seen, and hearing be hearing. But for smelling, tasting, and touching, he used the word Muti, Muta, Madam Bhavai-sati. Muta means those sense objects that come into contact with the sense base. Here, I hope you all understand, we have many times explained, and every morning we chant Patijasmo Baradu Ayatana. Ayatana means what the world we call world means. We communicate with our environment, outside world, through these six sense organs. With the eye we see, with the ear we hear, with the nose we get the smell, with the mouth we get the taste, with the body we get tactile sensations, and with the mind, mental objects. The world means these only, what we experience through these sense organs. So that we call outside a sense object like sight, sound, smell, taste, tactile sensation, and mental object. These are external objects. And correspondingly with the sight and the eye, we have eye to see, ear to hear, nose to smell, mouth to taste, and body to touch. So these are we call 6 sense bases, because it is in our body. So with the object and the sense base, when they come into contact, then this seeing, hearing, smelling, consciousness arise. So that is how it we call ayatana. Ayatana means this sense base, external, outside sense of object, and internal sense base. So these are corresponding pairs. Here I think that some of you, or most of you, I have many times explained how these senses work. You must know this because it is helpful in our meditation. And if some of you have studied Abhidhamma, and Abhidhamma is very clearly explained by Buddha. Like for seeing consciousness to arise, and normally we use in worldly usage, seeing, to see, our eye must be functioning, eye sensitivity. Not this eyeball at the back. Buddha's wisdom is amazing. That's what I'm trying to explain. Satyaku pasada, Pali what he uses, eye sensitivity. And that corresponds to a medical science at the back of the eyeball. That is the sensitive part of the eye. So that must be functioning. And there must be object. And there must be light. Aloka, light. And manasikara, one must focus attention. So on these 4 conditions, only the seeing consciousness can arise. He said, Jakunja, Pateja, Rupeja, Opejati, Jaku Vinyanan, Denan, Sangati, Paso. Eye sensitivity, visual object. Your eye may be good. I am sitting here. If we are sitting in the dark, we cannot see. And there must be light. Even there is light, we are sitting and facing each other. If your mind is somewhere, you don't see me, though you may be looking at me. Because seeing is by mind. That's why it is called seeing consciousness. These eyes and the object is just instrumental or the condition for the mind to arise. So that's how it acts. For seeing consciousness to arise, the eye sensitivity must be functioning. There must be an object to see. And there must be light and manasikara. These 4 conditions conduce, then seeing consciousness arise. That's how we see things when we communicate with the outside envelope. What we call world this is the world. Then when you note hearing, there must be sound. And your ear sensitivity, sota, pasada, ear sensitivity must be functioning well. Not this ear is just instrumental. And inside the sensitive area of the ear must be functioning well. And there must be akasa, space. If no space, you cannot hear. Like, though we are talking here, if somebody is staying inside, they cannot hear. Because there is a barrier, then no space for the sound wave to travel. So, ear sensitivity, sota pasada, sada ramana, sound, then akasa, space, and manasikara. These 4 conditions conduce, then hearing consciousness arise. Sotensa, cha, pateja, sateja, opejati, soda, vinyanan, denan, singati, paso. pleasant. The sound, the ear sensitivity, and the manasikara, then hearing consciousness arise. Then what about smelling? To have a smell, there must be scent that can give smell. Like if you are smelling the flower scent or food, when we go to dining hall or when you pass by a kitchen where there's cooking, we get the smell. There must be smell. And kana pasada, your nose sensitivity must be functioning well. Inside the nose there is a horseshoe-shaped sensitive area where this smell comes into contact. Then we need these smell particles to be carried by wind, water. Pali water means wind. So there must be wind. There must be scent. Your nose must be functioning well. And manasikara. So also 4 conditions. Then only you can get the smell. There must be essence of the taste. And kana, jiva pasada, the tongue sensitivity must be functioning well. And we need apo or water. That's why our mouth is always wet. Sometimes when a person is sick and high fever, when tongue is dry, they can get no taste. There must be water to dissolve the essence of the taste, so that it can come into contact with the taste buds. So, the essence, the tongue, sensitivity, water, and manasikara, four conditions conduce, then tasting consciousness arise. Then how about body sensation? Lord, there must be object. Because Buddha the tactile object, the object that can touch the body. Then kaya pasada, body sensitivity. Then phassa, that might be the right contact. And manasikara, then kaya vijnana, body consciousness arise. So that's how these sense organs act with external objects and internal basis, and this corresponding consciousness of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and tactile sensations arise. Now you can understand. Seeing the object does not come direct contact with the eye. Just form and color is reflected to the eye. So also the sound, the mouth or any object does not come direct contact with the ear. Only by this vibration, sound waves come into contact. There is no direct contact for these two senses. That's why Buddha used separate word, data, mata, pavesati, sutta, mata, pavesati. But for smelling, tasting, touching, we need direct contact. Just now as I have explained. To get the smell, the scent must come direct contact with the nose sensitivity. So also the taste. You cannot get the taste by just seeing or hearing. From afar you cannot get any taste if it does not come into contact with the tongue. Because the two has to come direct contact. So also tactile sensation, like I feel this throat soft or rough. Because it's a direct contact with the body. Only you can feel the tactile sensation of body consciousness can arise. So these three senses, smelling, tasting, touching, they had to come into direct contact. That's why these three Buddha collectively say under one heading, Mudi Muda Mada Bhavasati. Amazing is wisdom is how can he get into these without studying medical science or anything. Another comment I would like to want to give is, so here the instruction is, and seeing just be seen, and hearing just be hearing. So how to meditate, and seeing just to be seen, or hearing and just to be hearing? The underlying meaning is, we are conditioned or habitually identifying or verifying anything, any of these sense objects that come into contact with us with conventional ideas or concepts. So at the beginning, of course, we cannot totally or completely ignore the conventional usage. We have to use the words. But at the back of the mind or deep inside, one should be open to understand the paramata or ultimate reality of the object you are noting. Like seeing. You see something and you note as seeing. So we immediately identify, we are conditioned to identify, maybe call it instinctive, as an instinct. We identify as either a human being or an animal. But in a meditation retreat, when one is striving or bent on having this spiritual progress or insight, one should try to adapt to understand the paramata or ultimate reality as when you see something like just now I've explained. The scene is the visual object, and your eye, the visual object, what you see and your eye is rupa. The seeing consciousness that arises nama. First instinctive understanding should be rupa and nama, metta and the mind. Then because of this visual object in the eye, this is the cause, then seeing consciousness arises as a result. So cause and effect relationship. And so one seeing consciousness after another arising and passing away. This arising and passing away is more evident when you are noting the sound as hearing. So and hearing too similarly, the sound and the ear is rupa, the hearing consciousness that arises nama, rupa and nama. Then the sound and the ear is the cause. Hearing consciousness is the result, cause and effect relationship. And one sound after another arising and passing away. And with sound, this arising and passing away is very clear and vivid, like clock chiming. Ding, no more. Ding, no more. One ding you hear, just a split second hearing, then disappear. Then another ding arise. So, just and seeing be seen, hearing be hearing, what Buddha meant is to see on this paramata process or paramata phenomena of all the objects. If you cannot keep this paramata knowledge, then this mental defilements can arise. If you look as just only hearing, or a clock is chiming, so it's how many hours now. And in a worldly life you may have some appointment with somebody and the mind starts wandering. Or if hearing is unpleasant sound, the anger will arise, as we have talked in the matter. If the sound is pleasurable sound, then greed or craving will arise. So if you just note these ways, just rupa and nama, cause and effect, arising and passing away, no mental defilements can overwhelm your mind. So that is what is meant. Hearing, just be hearing means hearing. You should be just stick to Paramattha or ultimate reality rather than what we go along with the conventional sense of identifying as we are conditioned to it. So to differentiate between mind and matter, we have many times explained repeatedly. The rupa or the physical phenomena of the body or so-called a person or a being is just the two categories combined together, what we call psychophysical complex. This physical body and the mind. So physical body can be recognized by four characteristics or four elements that compose in this physical body. That is earth element, Prithvi Dhatu, water element, Apo Dhatu, heat element, Tejo Dhatu, and wind element, Vayu Dhatu. So by these four characteristics, when Prithvi Dhatu is solidity, because of this solidity we can occupy space and we can be felt or seen. Then Apo Dhatu is fluidity, cohesive property and trickling property. Then heat element is hot, cool and warm. Then Vayu Dhatu is element of motion. So by these four characteristics, we can identify this rupa or the physical part of the body. Basing on these rupa, there is a cognitive faculty or mental energy which we call nama. So nama, as I have often explained, nama or mind can be recognized by four categories. 3 cetasika mental fighters and 1 consciousness. But they come under nama. 3 cetasikas or mental fighters are Vedana, feeling or sensations, Sanya, perception, and Sankhara, volition. And the fourth part of the nama is Vijnana or consciousness. So these are 4 groups of mental that constitute nama, and 4 elements that constitute rupa. At least our meditators must be familiar with these phenomena or dharma, so that you can understand better and we can suppress those mental defilements that assail us. Okay, let us stop it too late. Idame punya Nibbanasa Pachayo Hotu Idame punya Yatinang Hotu Sukita Hontu Nyatayo Imano Punya Bhagan Sabha Satana Tema Sadhu. May you all be happy. May you all be healthy. May you all be free from suffering. May you all attain eternal peace or nibbana in the shortest possible time. Sadhu.